Hey y'all, I'm Hope, and today I'm putting together my April TBR. Full disclosure, I'm doing this very early. This is actually about mid-March. It's actually St. Patrick's Day right now, and I'm doing this really early because I have a paper due on April 6th. So I want to have the weekend directly beforehand as free as possible so that I have plenty of time to do any kind of like finishing up I need to do for that paper over those few days preceding it. And I also want this video to go up on time. So we're going to be filming this early, and yeah, that's pretty much everything you needed to know. Well, let's just see what the board is going to give me because I am playing TBR Betrayal as usual. So let's check out if the board is going to be nicer than it was last month. Slightly different setup today. I'm going to be trying this on my desk to see how this works. I think it's going to be a little more comfortable to film like this. I apologize in advance if you hear either fan noises or creaking. It's my computer and my chair. So first things first, let's find out which character we're going to be playing. Choose the right dice here. So, roll our d12. What do we get? We got a 10. I don't even know if that's going to be visible, but it's a 10. So, number 10 is Lestat de Lioncourt, and I have cards in the way. Oh no. Get off there. So, Lestat is 11, 10. His knowledge set is 3, so I need to have 3 books on my TBR. Alright, well we left off right here on this omen, which is actually incredibly close to the end of the house. So we will see. Rolling for book number 1. Got 3, which is under my thumb here. So technically that puts us out of the house. But I think I actually don't want to finish the house because that's kind of boring. That means I just pick 3 books on my own. So we're actually just going to keep going. So 1, 2, that would be here on an omen. So let's go ahead and grab that. So we got Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. Okay, and then we have a total of 3 omens in play, so I'm going to go ahead and do a haunt roll and we will see what happens. We got a 3. That is so fucking lucky. If you haven't seen me play this before, you have to roll the number or above to avoid starting the haunt. So that was incredibly close. But good news, we don't have to add a Boys Degenerate Demand card just yet. Rolling for book number 2. We got a 4. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, which gives us a prompt, which is inspired by myth, folklore, or legend. So I've been looking for something to fill the inspired by myth, folklore, and legend prompt, and the conclusion I've come to is I just don't have anything right now that I'm that interested in reading, or the things that I do want to read are pretty thick or they're pretty dense looking. I think I'm actually gonna let myself redraw this because what I'm hoping to do with my TBR for April is have some shorter things on it because I actually have 2 research papers due in April, and I'm also working on getting some thesis planning done and figuring out my timeline for that, getting my committee set up, kind of in the midst of that process. I'm gonna let myself redraw it, and this is gonna sound counterintuitive, but bear with me. When I redraw omens, I redraw them, but I have to add an extra book to my TBR. So I think I'm gonna do that. I'm going to let myself redraw a prompt, but I'm gonna draw 2 instead of 1. So I'll have 4 books on my TBR, but I'm gonna try and find books that are shorter or that fit into video plans I already had so that it'll be a little bit more manageable for me with the stuff that I need to get done in April. So I know this is unconventional, but my game, my rules, we're doing it. And I'm just gonna shuffle these guys up a little bit. Okay, so we're just gonna pick our top 2 here. And let's see what we've gotten. Most anticipated and bones on the cover. That's really interesting. I'm gonna go see what I've got. All right, and rolling for book number 3. We got, I can pick it up. It's hard to pick up these little D4s. It is a 3. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, which is a mood read. So I get to pick what I want for that one. So I still got to pick one of my own books. The board's really nice this month. So right off the bat, we got an omen, which is always exciting. Luckily, I didn't end up needing to add an extra book, but we got Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, and I'm pretty thrilled this ended up my TBR. I'm also pretty amused by it. This is the most recently acquired book on my shelves. I just added it. I literally added it to my mug 5 minutes before filming. And when I did that, I made all my little rolls of paper for the newest stuff that I needed to add. I dumped all of the paper out, added the new ones, shuffled them around, put them back in the mug, and I still got the most recently added book. So I think that's really funny. But I'm really glad this ended up on my TBR because it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I suspect I'm going to want something kind of fun and heartwarming during April because I'm going to be reading so much heavy stuff for school, and I know I'm going to be working a lot for school. So I think this is going to be like a perfect pick-me-up for that. I also have some video plans for this that will hopefully be coming out in April, assuming that all goes well. And it's a video that I'm really excited for. I think it's going to be really fun. I don't want to give away the theme, but you can probably guess what it is just based on this being one of the books that's in it. And I'm really excited. So this worked out really in my favor. So then, drawing 2 prompts to replace the one that I originally got. Actually, you might be surprised, did in fact work in my favor. This has worked really well for me, in fact. So the first prompt we got was bones on the cover, and I've chosen Catriona Ward's Sundial, which has this like skull, cow skull on the cover, and I am again thrilled that this is on my TBR. Not so much this time in terms of content, because I know this is going to be a very dark book. This author, I think, tends to be quite hit or miss for people. I've seen a lot of people love her work, a lot of people hate it, and I'm not sure where I'm going to fall there. But this is another book that I have video plans for. So there will also be a video, hopefully coming out in April, involving this book. And yeah, again, this worked really well for me. And it's also not a very long book, so I think it's not going to be too bad. The other redrawn prompt was most anticipated, and one of my most anticipated releases for the entire year actually is coming out at the end of March. And this is Rose House by Katie Martine. This one's a novella. It's about a house that is alive that was designed by this famous architect who has since died. And now there's only one person in the world who's allowed to enter and exit this house once a year. And at a time when they're not in the house, when they're not supposed to be in the house, somebody dies in the house and the house alerts the authorities. But nobody should be in it because the house only unlocks once a year for this one person. So now they're trying to figure out, is there somebody actually dead in the house? Who died? What were they doing there? How'd they even get in? And it just sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, Katie Martine wrote one of my absolute favorite series, The Takes Duology, so I'm really excited to see what she's going to do with this murder mystery because I know already that I love her writing, so I think it's going to be a really wonderful book. And it's also, again, I think I mentioned this, a novella, so it's going to be nice and short too. And then the last thing was a Hope Gets to Pick Whatever She Wants slot, and for this I have chosen Player vs. Monster by Jaroslav Svelch. I apologize if I butchered that name really badly. I was having trouble finding a pronunciation for it online, but I'm gonna keep looking, so hopefully going forward I can get it right. But this is a game studies book. It's called Player vs. Monster because it's about the evolution of monsters in games. Why do monsters exist in games? Why are they such a thing? What purpose do they serve? All kinds of questions about monsters in games. And I'm really excited for this one. I think it's gonna be fascinating. 1, because I love video games, but 2, because I'm also interested in game studies, and I think this is going to be useful for me going forward. I think it's going to connect to some of my own research interests, because I'm very interested in, like, violence in games. Not so much in the terms of, like, are violent games bad, but, like, why do so many of our stories have violence in them? What purpose does that violence serve within the narratives? Things like that. So I think this is going to be a really useful book for me, and I think it's going to be really interesting. It's also another one that's quite short, so I don't think it's going to be too bad to get through. So these plus Rose House are the books that I need to read in April, and this is maybe the most doable TBR I've ever put together. I'm really excited about this. These are all books I'm extremely excited to read, and I really am looking forward to April now. I think it's going to be a really great reading month. So yeah, this really did work out in my favor this month, especially after the chaos of March, because the board and roll of reads really just decided I needed to suffer in March. Still having a good time, but, you know, this was much kinder this month. So that's all I have for you today. Let me know down in the comments what you're going to be reading for April. I would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, I hope you'll consider giving it a like, maybe even subscribing to see what comes next. I'm currently posting videos every Tuesday and Saturday, so there is more content coming soon, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.